Ashley here from Tranquil Therapy. This video is all about frozen shoulder. There's going to be a few exercises in here that you can use if you're already in a thawing stage or if you're in a beginning freezing stage. If you're unable to move your arm in some of these positions, you can still try some of these, but make sure that you take it easy. So to start, we're going to go ahead and just step on the middle-ish part of our band. From here, you're going to move over just a tad so that when you go to bring this up, you're already feeling that resistance. From here, we're going to do a little bit of a combo. So the combo starts with your palm face up, and you're just going to move your arm as high up as it can, at least until the shoulder, but as high as you can. Same thing with the side, palm down. And then if you can, opposite hand, keeping the elbow close to your side, you're going to bend and then you're going to move in the opposite direction. So your elbow should stay as close to your side as possible. This is getting that armpit muscle. It's the one that I might have poked you a couple times already when you're on my table. And if you're not one of my clients, it's that muscle that kind of feels like you're rounding your shoulders, which nobody likes. Once you're done with this series, again, it's palm down up, palm down out, opposite hand, going over and out. You can grab the whole band and start with your upper back. So I like to kind of bring it to my shoulders and chest and see where it kind of meets my shoulder bone and grab there. And from here, you're going to make a W with your arms and your elbows. Elbows are in and down, hands are out, making this W shape. All you're doing is squeezing your shoulder blades. So this should come and meet right at your chest. And remember, you need to squeeze your shoulder blades back and down and hold this for a few seconds. I'll be sure to post how many you should do depending on where you're at in the workout stage. If you're starting off, please don't use a band that's really hard. Use a band that's a little bit lighter, and if that's still really easy for you, that's great. Move up to another one, but don't start off with the hardest one you can. Now that you know what the sequence is going to be, we're going to go into detail a little bit more. So when you have your palm face down and you're going up higher, you need to recruit your upper back and shoulder blade up and back, and then down in order to keep your arm in the shoulder girdle. So when you come up, you're going to squeeze that shoulder blade back and down, squeeze everything else up, and make sure that your elbow is high enough. So you want to get your wrist in line with your elbow, in line with your shoulder as high as you can, and come back down. If you can't do that, you can have a little bit of a bend in your elbow as you come up, but keep that shoulder blade back and down. Same thing with the side. If you need to, have more of a bend. And then on the back, when you're going to do the subscap muscle, this is the one that kind of feels like you got those rounded shoulders. You want to make sure that you keep the elbow as close to your body as possible. This is forcing you to bring your shoulder blade back and down and use that outside part of the shoulder blade right about here. And it forces you to keep that in and actually use it instead of recruiting other muscles like trapezius and things like that to do the action for you. So what you're going to do again is opposite foot. You're already standing there, so it's fine. You want to make sure that as you pull up, you have a little bit more resistance, like as you start. So I'm going to be a little bit closer to the side that I'm using, keeping this in, grabbing it here, and just coming straight out. I'm keeping my elbow touching my body at all times while I do this. I find that some people will do this sort of thing where they have just a little bit of space in between and you start to recruit some bicep muscles, and you don't want your biceps to start doing the action for you. You want to make sure that you get that subscap. If, for whatever reason, that's not really working for you and you want a better way to know if you're getting it right, you can just grab a regular loop band. This is extra light. You want to go light. Grab your thumbs, put them inside the band, and then kind of hold the rest of the band this way so that your thumbs are out and you're not going to entrap your thumb. So from here, elbows super close to the body, and again, all I'm doing is coming all the way out, and this will keep the band in place. And from here, you want to try and feel the shoulder blade coming back and down as you come out. But if for whatever reason you're unsure if you're doing it right, try doing the W first, because that will wake up some of those upper back muscles that you might not have been using. Usually frozen shoulder occurs because you're recruiting other muscles into everyday actions. This could be opening up a door, this could be shampooing your hair, it could be brushing your teeth. But if you start recruiting muscles that are going to cause an imbalance and eventually be unable to do or perform the action that you're asking it to do, then that's when you start getting into the freezing stage. You want to make sure that you start these exercises as soon as you start to feel the freezing stage occur, because it can take a lot longer, up to 3 years, to get you out of that cycle. There are a couple of stretches that you can also do with your band. One of them is bring it behind your back. I like to kind of grab, maybe like loop it a little bit beforehand and then grab the other side. That way you can bring your shoulder blades back and down and try to see how far down you can get your hands. So this should come underneath of your glutes. You shouldn't be bending all the way back. It should just literally be right underneath of here. And you can use a towel if this feels uncomfortable too. And for that, you just grip the towel. It doesn't stretch. If that's feeling okay and you want to keep going with the stretch, you can just bring the arms up and see how high you can get. If you need to, when you use the towel, you can bring your arms out as far out as they go, and I'll show you. If you use just a regular towel, grip it. This is not going anywhere, right? From here, the farther out you are, the more you can kind of bring your arms up. The closer you are, the more you have to really recruit those shoulder blades and the muscles we just worked, and then kind of bring this up as high as you can. You're going to get more of a stretch in the front. With frozen shoulder, a lot of these muscles are already being overworked, so they need to be stretched. And this will help them stretch. Another one that you could do with the towel is if you bring your arms up over your head, depending on what side you want to go to, you can just bring this up and over. Now, this might not feel the best at first, or it might feel a little bit hard. So if it does feel hard, you can throw this over your shoulder, grab it from the back, and then pull down with the opposite arm with this one. And that will give you a better stretch in the underarm traps area. Everyone's different, and depending on where you're at in your frozen shoulder journey is going to be where you start with the exercises. I always recommend that when you start, you go until you feel exhausted, until it starts to feel really hard. So for me, that could be, or for a regular client, that could be doing 20 of these on each side, and then doing, I don't know, 15 of the other ones that we did, where you kind of have your arm out, and you can go out to the side, you can go in front of you, well, in front of you with the shorter one. So from here, in the front, to the side, and if you want, you could also try the back if you really want to, where it's more of a tricep kickback sort of motion. So you're going to Hinge at the hips here, lean forward. And the goal is to go from this position to straight. So you should be able just to hold this at your chest and do this, where you keep your elbow in, like close to you, touching you, up as high as it can go without pulling your shoulder up. So it should sit right about your waist. And from here, you just straighten your arm. You're gonna work all of the muscles in your triceps. So hold in, come down. You might be able to do maybe 15 or 20 of these when you're starting as well, but feel out what your limit is. And when you start to feel exhausted, you don't want to overdo it. You just want to go right to the point where you really feel it and it's starting to get really hard to finish. That's going to be your base. That's where you start. If you have any specific questions and you're a client of mine, you already have your workouts, but please reach out to your physical therapist or a personal trainer in your area. There we go.